We've got Rajesh Jejurikar, the Executive Director, Automotive and Farm Equipment at M&M. Thank you so much, Mr. Jejurikar, for taking time out and joining in on the show. Good to have you on board. Let's just start off by what your assessment is on the lead indicators and the fundamentals of rural demand. Is there more room for growth? Because this is clearly a sector that the company has been focusing on.
Hi, firstly, thanks for having me with all of you this morning, and a pleasure to be on the show. Yes, rural is the hot topic today, as we all know. And as we've been in the rural segment and watching it very closely, we have seen a distinct uptick, not starting today, but starting sometime December. And we all know that last year rural went through a reasonable amount of slowdown. And starting December, we started to see a much improved momentum. That momentum has been caused by a variety of factors. One clearly has been that last year, the rains got delayed, and that had affected the timing of the sowing. But the rains, when they came in, were really good. The reservoir levels are at a very, very, very good, robust level in most parts of the country, almost everywhere. That builds a lot of confidence, and in a way, monsoon proofs the next season. So that's been one significant positive. The quality and the quantity of the crops that came out last season and again this season in the recent harvesting has both been very good. So that's the other favorable factor from an agriculture point of view. The other significant driver of rural demand has been the government spending. And we've seen, and we have something internally which we call the government spending index. And that's been at a high since Jan-March quarter, and even in the April-June quarter, there's been a significant improvement in government spending across various elements of rural and agriculture. So I think it's a combination of all of these, and farmer output has been good, prices they're realizing are good. So all in all, many positive factors driving rural demand.
Okay, fair enough. Give us a sense as well as to, how you're seeing the overall picture shaping up in terms of the farm sector. What are the projections when it comes to farmer spending on buying tractors, buying farm equipment? What has been the demand like?
Yeah, so we have, April, of course, everyone was in shutdown, but end of April, tractor dealers have started opening. May saw a growth, and both June and July I've seen a very, very significant growth in the market. We are at close to 100% capacity and still running short of stock. In fact, we opened July with our lowest probably ever system stock at this time of the year, and which includes stock with dealers and stock with us. So even though we are at full capacity right now, we are expecting festival season demand to be very strong. And our major challenge right now is not on the demand front, but making sure we have enough material available as we get into festival season. So, all the positives that I spoke about on the rural demand side are translatable and visible in the tractor demand momentum.
Let's talk a little bit more about the tractor demand, the kind of models as well that you've already introduced, the kind of success you've seen on some of them, and what perhaps is in store now going forward when it comes to that segment.
Well, on the Mahindra brand side, we've introduced something we call the XP Plus series. And that's actually an upgrade of two of our very strong brands and models, the old Bhumiputra and the Sarpanch. And the response, we introduced that starting January in a phased manner, but it's now available nationally. And that has seen a very, very good positive response. Some of the shortcomings of the previous models have been completely taken care of. And we now believe that our portfolio is very strong and very competitive. So that's on the Mahindra brand side, and that's more in the short term, and that's already happened. As we go forward, we've invested in something we call the K2 platform. And actually K2 is 4 platforms, lightweight platforms being developed for India, but also for global markets. And that's a collaborative project that we run between our associate company Mitsubishi in Japan, along with our engineering teams here at MRV in Chennai. And that the first of those platforms should be launched a couple of years from now, and then others should follow in quick succession. That I think will make us very competitive in global markets, specifically North America, within the Japan market itself, other markets in Southeast Asia. So again, that's one of the significant things we're doing. Just if I may take a minute and add on, one very important initiative, and we believe that to be almost like a strategic moat that we are building, is what we call farming as a service. And we branded that Krish E because it has an on-ground presence as well as a digital play. And we've integrated various initiatives that we were doing in this space. We had Samriddhi centers, so they become Krishi centers, precision farming, rental models. So all of these fold into the farming as a service business vertical. And we believe that that is something which will allow us much greater engagement with farmers and moving our model from just selling machines to selling overall solutions to farmers. And we really believe that's future-proofing our business.
You know, the board has moved, of course, a special resolution to reduce shareholding in SsangYong. Any dialogue with potential investors, timelines that you can share with us?
Well, you know about the resolution. You just mentioned that we've also said that we will not be investing any more money, and that was announced end March into SsangYong beyond the one investment or infusion that was arranged not by way of equity but by funding support to SsangYong in the Q1. We've also said in the past that we are looking for potential partners, and there are some discussions on, but too early to talk about the timing or where that's headed. But there is work going on along those lines.
Sure. Mr. Jejurikar, I must mention that Thar has created a lot of buzz in the market already. But I want to talk about SUV as a segment per se, because, your market share there, and correct me if I'm wrong here, has fallen from the earlier 55% in FY12 all the way to 19% in FY20. The initial fall perhaps could be attributed to, weaker presence in urban SUVs. But the launch of urban models now in the recent past has also sort of failed to arrest the decline for you. Strategically, how is it that you're planning to recover lost ground?
Okay, so let's just break this up into two parts, right? One part is what is the definition of an SUV segment? And as you can imagine, that's changed quite dramatically in the timeline that you're talking. Today, a lot of the SUV segment are what one may call car-derived SUVs or crossovers. They are vehicles which look like SUVs but are not SUVs in any true performance parameter, or even from the point of view of presence are not completely SUVs, right? So that's all today part of what we call the SUV definition. So we've kind of, reflected back on the game that we want to play. And really our focus is going to be on saying, let us drive our areas of strength, right? And play the game where we are strong. So we are, as a Mahindra brand DNA, a true blue SUV. And that's where we get momentum with our customers. And we believe that there are enough customers who are looking for that value proposition. And I'm going to connect this in a moment to Thar and also talk about how we think about this going forward. Thar is, in a way, a flagship of the Mahindra DNA. It represents explore the impossible. That's what we believe we are about. We enable our customers to go out there and experience life very differently. Our brand is not about a mobility solution, but it's about how you live your life. And we believe that our products will enable customers to do that. The response you're seeing to Thar is because it's hit that sweet spot. The timing is favorable as well, right? Today, freedom means much more to each of us than it has ever meant before. And a product like Thar enables you to experience that. We also have a very strong heritage of being around for 70 years, helping create new roads and new trails. And the whole classics, in a way, in a manner of speaking, is a representation of the Mahindra DNA. So the Thar has hit that sweet spot, and it's really bridged one major gap that was there in the previous Thar. Of course, it's now designed as a mainstream product. It's not just going to be a niche off-roader. We come in with gasoline, automatic transmissions on both gasoline and diesel, and will be, we believe, a mainstay product in urban areas as well as for conventional off-roaders. So our strategy going forward will be more about creating differentiation and staying true to our core. We believe that this will enable market share growth to come, but we don't want to reverse the strategy and say to gain market share, we should play in segments where we are not going to have a competitive advantage. We will create demand by playing to our strengths. I hope that answers some of your questions, but happy to take any follow-up.
Absolutely, it does. Tell me, what is the strategic importance, Mr. Jejurikar, of global subsidiaries or acquisitions in as to whatever you may have chalked up in the roadmap in the near future?
Yeah, so let's just separate that out for the two businesses and the two core businesses in auto and farm, which is the auto sector and the farm sector. Let me start with the farm sector. We really looked at globalization using two axes. One axis is technology, and the other axis is market. On the market front, we've been in North America for a while. We are a very strong brand, tractor brand in North America. We're number 3 in the less than 100 horsepower segment. The brand has good momentum and acceptability and salience, and the channel is reasonably strong. We've had some issues on managing our cost structures and inventory levels, and we went through correction in the last 2 years. We believe that business is now headed on a path to profitability in the immediate short term. So that's one very important business on the farm side. We got into Turkey, which was also market access, the 4th largest tractor market in the world. We acquired a very strong brand there called Arkun Tractors that's taken us straight to number 4. We gained market share last year. But what had happened in Turkey since the time we got in was the market, actually industry when we acquired Arkun Tractors was about 70,000. It dropped to as low as 24,000 last year. This year, the industry is bouncing back and has shown a growth of over 60%. So it was, I think, just unfortunate timing of when we got into Turkey. But we have a strong brand through our contractors, and that's a part of our market access. We also, like I said, second axis is technology. Through our investments in Mitsubishi in Japan, we're creating the rice value chain. We're creating lightweight tractors in collaboration with that organization because they have that kind of expertise and mindset. In Sampo, Rosenlov in Finland, we have the harvester technology capability. In Hisarlar in Turkey, we have the tractor attachments and other implements capability. So we also, as we are looking at growth, and a lot of that is going to be needed in India as the market evolves to either lightweight tractors, market evolves to more farm machinery as we go forward, we do need to create a technology platform to do that. On the auto side, the way we're thinking about it going forward is a lot of our globalization beyond what we already have done is going to come out of our joint venture with Ford, because that allows us through joint venture or through products in the Mahindra ecosystem and access to many markets that could happen with the Ford badge as well. But it allows us to play a very strong Make in India game. Apart from that, on the auto side, our priority markets are neighboring markets, Africa. We have a strong presence in South Africa, strong presence in Chile, but we don't really intend to go too much beyond that. And the rest of our strategy will ride on the Ford joint venture in India. Over to you.
Where in the next 2 to 3 years Sure. Where in the next 2 to 3 years, Mr. Jejurikar, will the big innovation happen from the Mahindra stable? Will it be in the tractors or farm equipment segment, or is it going to be the automotive division?
Well, I just hope we don't have to ever make that choice. We want every part of our business to be innovative and prepare ourselves for a future which is based on innovation. A lot of what we're doing in farming as a service, which I just spoke about, Krishi E, is about innovation. Many things that will happen on the K2 platform that I spoke about is going to have innovation. We are going to offer things on those platforms which haven't been seen at those kind of price points before. So we are driving a lot of innovation. Many things we're doing on precision farming, for example, are really talking about how do you create farming solutions for small landholding farmers globally, which otherwise are available only in large farms. So really what we may call democratizing technology for small landholding farmings, and a lot of innovation, use of artificial intelligence, frugalizing other technologies is what is at play there. Even on the auto side, I think electric vehicles is going to need innovation, and many things that you will see in new upcoming products will bring in new technologies into our offerings. So we really hope that innovation is the cornerstone on which we build many of our successes in the future.
Before we let you go, Mr. Jejurikar, I don't want to put you in a spot here, but I have to ask you, what car do you drive? Is it an M&M car?
Yeah, actually, I use a Marazzo, and I'm talking about a pre-lockdown period where, I would go to work with a chauffeur. So I use a Marazzo because my daily commute is Bandra to, northern suburb where our office is, which is Kandivali, which is a very, very bumpy road, if I may put it mildly. And the Marazzo is superb ride quality. And I spend in the pre-lockdown era 2.5 hours a day on the road. So that is really the most comfortable ride, and that's what I use for work. But maybe the Thar, I'm waiting for the Thar to come out, and somewhere on the booking list, whenever my turn comes in, maybe that will be my personal drive to work then.